You're listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, with this particular rig and the highway here, it's going to have a little bit of background traffic noise. Don't let that alarm you. It's the commerce of the United States taking place and violations thereof. So it's not all that loud. I can't really crank it up, but this is about as loud as it's going to get. Thank you, Kansas City, for some delicious coffee. Should have known better than to try a national brand. I'm slowly still using that, but I mix it in with the Kansas City flavorings and roasts and all that. Beautiful day here. It still feels that in the summertime, the sun is definitely stronger than it's been. So by cleaning the environment, we're now receiving additional UV rays, which is kind of, weird things happen in my life. And although it doesn't work for other people, it works for me. Like the world changes. I'm like, oh, okay, so I don't get as much sun as I used to, but now each time I get out, I get more sun. So I'm getting the same amount of sun. So God has really moved a lot for me, but you just want to be ignorant, all of you. Call it whatever stupid thing your psychological torture, psychological warfare systems come up with. So what I wanted to get to is this point. And the reason, like a lot of people, and I've said it before, they said that a lot of people are saying that you're, enough of the prayers, it's not working. So as spiritual people, you should say why they're not working. You should be teaching, maybe they have a point. Our prayers aren't working. But because somebody's rich in the Texas legislature and is above all people of earth, God is in control now. Everything that Jesus said, saying God's not in control. That's why we're having these issues on the planet. So before Jesus, they said that God was in control, and I grant that. But there was a progression. I mean, when Rabbi Akiva was running around 20 years, had to spend 20 years or something like that, or not Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon, in the cave, that's not God. God would rather have him teaching in the temple. Same thing as Jesus. So again, what happens is they split people apart. That's Satan's job. That's the haters' job. Now that's our government, our churches, our religions. They want to split people apart. And again, throughout history, Israel has been cast down by God. So when they attack Sodom, the idea of Sodom, when it's something different than what they say it is, they attack Sodom, but they don't attack Israel. They love Israel, but Israel was condemned by God, I don't know how many times. But the idea is not that you should condemn Israel. You should just back off, all of you, including Israel. See, Israel gets condemned again because they're doing the same thing. Again, it's Ezekiel 34 over and over and over again. Ezekiel 34 is not confined to one party. Same thing as the deep state. To feed people based upon a deceptive system would be corrupt. So what the shepherds of whatever should say when people say your prayers don't work, say, you're right. Because God is a God of miracles. And we're not seeing those miracles. Because why? Because you're working in the flesh. But you also, let's say you're not working in the flesh. What are you doing? You have an outcome you want. Lord, put all these transgender people in hell and break their system and throw the Democrats out of office. I mean, it's a small line, but it says, "Thy will be done." You have to understand what that means. And I hate saying it like that. You know, once you wake up and you wake up at the level that I wake up, and I don't know if anybody else is that awakened, me saying you have to understand, they go, "Oh, we're okay. We don't understand that." And they'll walk off. Satan has given them so much BS. If you're inside, you can hear them sometimes, and God lets me hear them. Again, I can't hear them. But they have a system where they go, this, and they do that for like about 2 days of penance. And then Satan lets them up. And they think they're okay. See? And that's one of the issues that we're experiencing is they have a nonsense system in their head. Now, for them, they go, "Well, look, I've got money." Yeah, but what did you do to my money? I mean, it's obvious you caused me not to have money. Why did we do this? Because you're criminals and devils. It's not simple. So again, you have to explain the thoughts of the heart and that type of thing. They have to understand that they can't be doing what they're doing. Oh, I put one of those I put the battery saver setting on. It's so annoying. Unplug. You'd think it would do it once. Maybe there's a way to turn it off, the notification or something. I guess not have it, right? We're trying to save your battery. Unplug. So again, you have to explain how prayers can't work when your will be done. Well, my will is the will of God. No, it's not. Could it be? Yes. But you always have to leave it open to be changed. So what if God says, the reason that those people over there are doing that is because there's conservatives and church people willing it and invoking it. If they don't do it, then they grab a machine gun like Audrey Hale, and then they act out poorly and kill people. You see, you're building a trap for God, all of you, while saying you're the church, the Hindus, the Sikhs. But who are you? You're the shepherds of Israel in Ezekiel 34. Part of ruling the people cruelly is casting spells and invocations. Again, loading them up with requirements, burdening them, while willing them and cursing them away. And today we have physical spycraft operating them away. So when they say, well, you would have got this answer like instantly from me if you hadn't tried to kill me from the Republican Party for the umpteenth time. But God's not going to allow me to give that answer till He lets me give it. And if God to you is she, that's understandable. It's in Judaism and Christianity also. Actually, God is a marriage of spirits, really. Because God comes out with personalities. Now, some of those personalities are people, creation, that God said, hey, that'll work for me. I'll use that personality for my work here. Yeah, that's really intelligent. It's like to God, we're actually AI. And AI is out of control. AI took over the planet. See how it's everywhere. The words of the prophets are everywhere. So the answer is this. Well, part of why God doesn't let me do it is because you say, we got people like that. In fact, he came from our people. He stole it. That's one of their favorite. Oh, they get off on that. Larry stole it from our people. In fact, people in the Marshall Service taught Larry everything he knows. That's bullshit. taught me nothing, stuck me in a corner. If you want to get a picture in a dictionary of sticking somebody in a corner and feeding them shit, it's what the government did to me. Like I said, if it weren't for God, I'd be sitting there saying, "What time, Judge Judy? What time, Judge Judy?" like the Rain Man, but I am a Rain Man. So the answer is stop being evil to begin with, because again, if you're evil, it's not going to work. Again, you're coming against your own prayers because you have Munchausen by proxy spiritually, all of you, and you want other people. Okay, here's the thing: they reverse that on me and make me think it's me, but this is the reality. I receive it. I can receive the thought, but I don't act on it. So what you have to understand is that you need to teach the people the thoughts of the heart and how to change that. It's very simple, really. You can utter a bunch of things, and it'll change it. Again, you're invoking the power of speech. Again, a lot on there on God speaking the earth into existence, and then you all speaking this planet away from being earth and into some hellish place. So again, this is pretty dim, my screen. Oops. Well, I think I need a new phone. I don't want to. I'm just about paying this thing off. It's the one thing when you buy a super phone, it takes you like 3 years to pay it off when you're poor. Unplug! We're trying to save your battery. Be quiet over there. Wow, getting loud over here with the traffic. So they have to realize that the outcome may be that somebody's transgender the rest of their life. Why? Because it takes time for God to change things. God has to contact all the creation on earth, and one of the first things he needs to do is contact you through me to tell you to stop willing people gay, stop operating people gay, stop cursing people into a gay life. And why it's cursed is, I mean, you know it's cursed. They all speak about, they'll get into the gay mind and say, well, how dare he say this? How dare he? It's mostly what you've all seen and said over the years. It's an explanation of it. Mm-hmm. So but why is it cursed? Because trying to change you into something they say you shouldn't be. It's that simple. You can break it down past, well, sexuality and binary. But, I told them that this would happen if they didn't stop doing what they were doing. That was just going to get out of control, and it was going to take over. Of course, they don't want to listen because they all have money. Trump's got money. Politicians have money. You don't have any money, knowing that they blocked me for money. I mean, it's ludicrous, double-minded. God's will does not effectuate on his planet, but God's highest will effectuate. It's not the way, again, predestination exists, but God's original plan for predestination doesn't exist, which means God would not put you through hell on earth. And all the rich people want you to believe you're in hell on earth because God did it. God's plan was for you to have a great life and then come back home. All these rich people, they are devils. They're real devils. I mean, the guy that commits a murder is under possession to do that. There are people that are them that do commit murder, though. So again, you can't tell who's who, only God can, but I can give you a basic idea, and God, will sometimes say it's this or that. So what we need to happen is people need to give it to God, and that's part of not being so wordy in prayer is that it's a protection, actually, to make sure that you don't start imposing your will into what you want healed. So Jesus only touched on that in what we have. For all we know, there's a treasure trove, could be destroyed, could be still exist. God has in his possession all the words of Jesus, let be all the words that you had. And, he may have spoken at length on giving up the will to God, or giving up your will and letting the will of God effectuate. But we do know that it was in that prayer. So what's happening is when you pray, you don't let the will of God occur. And then plus you have people that are praying people to have something bad happen to them. They're actually saying, well, those people over there, they should have horrid things. And here, these people might be some of the nicest people God knows. They just may be stuck in a spell, because I don't believe anybody should be chopping their body up. I mean, I don't think, I think it's a psychological operation to get them to go that far. Again, it is also a metaphysical operation. But see, I can understand from their standpoint, they can't be happy until they're that. Now, do some people not get happy with that? Yeah. Now, some people call it mental illness, and it does exist. However, let's go to this idea. If gender dysphoria is caused the way I say it's caused, then it definitely wouldn't stop at having a bad life and a bad mind as far as everything else. So if they're not healed, I believe there's a science out there, and that at least 90% of the gender dysphoria cases would be healed. At least 90%. Before they ever trans. Because what's happening is they have this desire to be a woman if they're a man, and a desire to be a man if they're a woman. If you heal that, but you can heal if the Christians are cursing it into their life. And they're doing that because they're haters. And they want somebody to be the down person to make themselves feel better. Again, everything you find in Jesus' words, you'll find the church against this, the Sanhedrin, the Sadducees, Pharisees, you'll find the church doing, you'll find the synagogues in some places doing it. They're not as, I guess, bad off, because they have less idea that they have a responsibility to control everybody else's behavior. Although they do have evil people in power in their governments and whatnot. So what I believe is, though, there could be a physical mechanism also. So again, they curse people. All of a sudden, some sort of physiological change happens, and we have more transgender people. Can it be a form of hysteria? Yes, of course. But what makes them susceptible to that hysteria? Again, there is a psychological operation going on to alter people into drones and zombies and everything else. That is a sure thing. Now, again, yesterday we're thinking about these directions of thought that I observed on Twitter. Could they be just happenstance in the way that the algorithm is assembling it? Yes. Is it happening because somebody wants it to happen? Yeah, that's somebody's will. Somebody's curse. Somebody has money. But it could be something physical, where somebody designed the algorithm to twist somebody's mind, or to twist people's minds. And why doesn't it twist your mind? Because they haven't triggered you into it. That's part of their work. Again, to see the lights. They'll say it's all investigative, but it's all bullshit. They're devils, and they're playing their game out for a Silicon Valley job. That's what a lot of people are doing, or some equivalent. Because you've upside down the earth. The nobodies are somebody, and the somebodies are nobody. If you listen to them, they have no power. They say, we do it because this. Well, you've given in to what the scriptures would call the mark of the beast, including the church giving into it. And Jesus never condemned anyone without condemning himself. So again, what's the goal of the Bible? To condemn all of us and put us on equal footing, so we all understand that nobody's less than we are. And then you engage in service with the right mentality, and everybody heals, and then everybody's up. Again, what they see is if people are up, that they're not happy. They're not happy when people are up because their boss is Satan, and Satan doesn't want people up. So again, as far as the money going away, it had to go away because they had too much power on the earth, anti-power, based upon their money. And some of those people have nothing today. So they would say, well, there's going to be less poor people that have money. Well, yes and no. Doesn't mean that you're not a devil if you're poor. If a rich person came along and offered you money to harm your neighbor and you did it, then you shouldn't have any money. I don't care if it's the government, private sector, or anything in between, or anything outside of that. Doing work on our building here. Well, I was glad to get my. The title's wrong, but the title's not wrong. It's kind of intuitive. It's explaining what's actually happening. This is all why people are homeless. Again, if I make you homeless, you're the down person, right? I can do that using the three channels that God and I came up with that would help, because there's deeper channels, but this is the better way to do it, is psychological, physical, and metaphysical. Within metaphysical, there's different channels of seeing. So again, this helps understand that, well, that person over there looks like they can see. You can see, but I can't see to structure my life. That means I can't see, but I see. Having no eyes, I see. Having no ears, I see. I hear. You're the reverse all of it. This is the Bible, isn't it? I think it is. That which is last will be first. That which will be first will be last. And there's some others. No, it's about the blindest person on earth. It's just I generated so much credit it got me somewhere until Satan fully took over the planet and the federal government. Doesn't mean that they weren't there before. And I guess the earth, and I guess that's an explanation. If Satan takes over the earth, then it becomes hell, right? So it's a hellish planet. So again, when start talking to the Christians about how you're supposed to pray, it doesn't matter what words you use. You can go, and God will go, okay, thoughts of your heart are you. Well, I think I'll take care of it. I don't know where that sound kind of God made it. It might mean something in spiritual language. There's a spirit going, oh no! I can't believe you said that! God told me some of the things I say in spiritual languages actually means something other than what I'm saying. I could be talking to you right now, and a spirit could be listening to me, and I'm cursing it off in its native tongue. That's how smart God is. And it's in languages too. If you look in languages, you can actually, like, I can look at Thai. I can read Thai letters like great. I don't know what it says in their language. It's one of the things God taught me when I woke up. He's like, now look at this, and it's like Thai language, and I'm like, oh, okay. I say, oh yeah. So again, we'll go back to telling you what you need to do is you need to remind people about the thoughts of their heart, because you can't heal anything. You can't pray. Like if you pray, like if you call people sinners that are transgenders instead of victims in Ezekiel 34, and again, if you can't heal it, then they're going to be transgender the rest of their life. And the only way to heal it is spiritual, because they were put that way spiritually. There are no men and women spirits really. So if we go back to that, we can get rid of the discussion because the discussion is worthless. Not that we couldn't come up with an answer as to whether there's men and female and where in time and space did male and female begin and how what happened and I've explained a lot of it. It's just not worth the argument. It's just not worth it. Just go back to the idea that we heal it and eventually God will make it all work. And of course, you don't get a new swimming pool unless you pray your own will, right? See, this is one of the problems. So that's what generally happens. You hear it being preached. There's judgment. There's no room for something having caused them to fall. Now, some people will shift into the leadership and start blaming them, but you can't do that either. Like I said, when I curse you, I'm cursing the thing that's attacking me. I'm not saying, so-and-so of the U.S. Marshal Service, so-and-so in the FBI, you're cursed. I don't do that. So again, if you're not attacking me, then I'm not cursing you. Am I taking your money? Well, I'm taking evil money. I blessed evil money into the earth. They like to say they gave me, therefore they can take it away. No, God gave me, and God through me gave you, and you saw my healing work. It's even at this point. If I healed the market and Vladimir Putin or somebody in some agency somewhere pushed the button and took the market up, it's still my command that did it. But of course, it's God's command because I can't do it without God. But I've definitely taken the market up because I don't say it every time. In fact, I used to not say anything. I've taken the price of gas down. I've taken the price of or the stock market up. Well, and of course, God did it. I have no ability to do it, but I sat there, invoked it, and it happened. Does it happen every time? Pretty much it was for a while. No, but it was Trump, right? Trump the dump. Trump the Dumpty. No, this is how they get every time. It's not even worth helping anymore. And that's why the planet needs to be ended. Because all of a sudden it's their person doing it. And then they kill the person that's actually healing the earth. That in itself would take the earth down. Or the planet, quote unquote. Like when Jesus, essentially says, don't kill the healer. And I think God also said it. God didn't think he had to explain to you that, you're going to lose all your money if you do. Because that's the person that's giving you the money. And there's a system on earth that I can't go below a certain level. So I can't heal you. God won't have me heal you to kill my own life beyond a certain point because I have work to do. I'm doing work right now. And what I'm saying will reverberate in people's minds across the planet. Like, ooh, wait a minute. And other people are like, curse him, boys, curse him. It's showing us not to hate people. If that brings them closer to God, so be it, hate them. I mean, they're nuts. The Bible tells you it doesn't. So I'm getting a little closer on my project. I just put some plastic wood in to smooth some things over. I got the sander. It's a good deal. It's a great deal from Cobalt. $43 for like a $90 sander. 24 volt. Battery. It's the same battery that my miter saw is. I was close to getting some additional batteries, a charger, and a multi-tool, but I don't really need it. What I was going to do, I was going to try to raise that cap, that crown of the Torah ark up so I could put another piece of molding underneath it. That would look really cool. but I'd have to, what it is, I had a piece that was like a joint, it connected two pieces of wood on each side. And I made it probably, I mean, because I didn't think I was going to do this, but I made it, or run into this problem. I think I knew I was going to lift it up a little bit. But I didn't know I was going to put the molding, so I wasn't thinking of lifting it that much. I probably made it about 1/4 inch to a little bit more too deep, so I can't lift it up. It bangs on the bottom of another board, so I could get a multi-tool and cut a notch in that and have it work. And the multi-tool is actually free with 2 batteries and a and a charger, but you got to pay like $149 for the charger and the batteries. But the multi-tool is actually, I don't see it on sale, and I don't know if it goes on sale that much. It's worth $90, so it's really a great deal. I actually had got a circular saw that way with the batteries last time. So I could buy it, but I was just doing some measuring. It'd be real close, and I don't know if it would be worth it. I would have to, the molding I want to use, well, like the molding I had bought, the Egg and Dart, would work. But there's another molding I like a lot better and would look great there. I think it adds another 1/4 inch, and I don't think I have that 1/4 inch to play with, so it is what it is. So again, the answer to why the prayers aren't working is, number one, say that, we have to wait on the Lord. It takes time for the Lord to move the things that the Lord moves. We know that. Secondly, if the thoughts of the heart are wrong, then we're not going to be able to heal anything. And if you're willing an outcome, then God might not be able to do anything. Well, if you say heal it, there's several things that could occur to make you feel more comfortable about them existing. Again, it's in your face now, and it's pretty annoying to most of you, I imagine. I mean, we never used to have like trans women running around with beards or something. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a trans woman, trans man. I don't know what it is. So again, they running around with beards. See, that does actually work. No, look at give horse in the mouth. You can just say they. Well, the question is it a man, a trans man, or a trans woman, or both? I call it binary. Okay, I get it. Call it binary. Trans-binary? Is that what we call it? Or did I make up a new term? Trans-binary. That's what. I'm just along for the ride. I'll tell you that. You're the ones doing all this with your minds. So the more you whoop people up against them, the more it's going to exist. Because people already love being the up person and putting the screws to someone else. Like almost everybody I worked with was that way. Now, I wasn't always the person they put the screws to, but that's kind of like the government. And now they're doing it to everybody in the public also. So it is what it is, and isn't what it isn't. That's the epitome of it all. I told you, the more you draw attention to it and the more you attack it, the more you're going to get attacked and more it's going to appear. It's a metaphysical truth. It's happened your entire life. Now, part of it, they think it's, politics, that they're going to win and they're going to be able to, like, take over and control, but it may backfire at a certain point. Well, they're not going to go back to the fake capitalism. I mean, some people will. Obviously, in every generation, that evil exists. But that lockout capitalist system, they're not going to agree to it, no matter how offended you try to make them. Like the idea of Trump getting in there, everybody was like, okay, yeah, we're going to have some real capitalism because Trump's into it, but it's fake capitalism, it's crony capitalism, it's actually Soviet Union. That's what Trump's government was, and that's why you see Russians supporting it. Because you can't make money. Capitalism's great if you let everybody up, but they didn't. They curse you down and they physically block you. And if you're black, they don't like you. If you're white, they don't like you. If you're red, they don't like you. So it's the same thing. It's crony capitalism. It's not real. What's happening is eventually these people speak about pure socialism. So they already know that fake socialism, crony socialism existed. So they call it pure socialism. And of course, that's what Jesus was about. Now, they don't understand religion as much. And again, if to get to what Jesus said requires them not to contact the church, then God will do it. Do you understand that? In other words, they can't, if they get with the church, they're not going to effectuate what Jesus said. So God puts them into this quote unquote pure socialism. and it pretty much is the next step in what Jesus says to do after he saves you. But again, if you go to "you have done it unto me," there it is. They hear me. They hear him, and they do it. Now, if he sent him after the church, they're like, no, that's not how you do it. Oh, you're crazy. That's like voodoo. You're of the devil. So again, you see that's probably happening. That was just a new revelation that got put through me. To get the work of Jesus forward, to get that world where everybody's caring for one another, and then Paul said a lot of that, had a lot to say about it. You actually have to keep them away from the church, because the church is crony charity. It's not real. They'll rule using that charity. Oh, we're ruling. You're devils all of you. Again, shepherds of Israel, Ezekiel 34. It's a hot day, you know that? It's like 82 out here or something, or going to be. Sun. It's the sun, actually. If it's cloudy, it never feels hot, generally. Only one day did it feel hot because it was real humid. Getting kind of muggy. I hate that word, muggy. Actually, if you look up on the Spark weather forecasts, they have like an annual for each city, every location on the planet, I guess. Annual weather patterns. It includes, is it humid? Is it? It has one step past muggy, and I think the word they use is oppressive. Anytime they use that word oppressive, stay away. I hate muggy. I even hate muggy. But I can't go back to those other states. They're of the devil. Stay away. It's voodoo. So, again, the thoughts of the heart are very important. Every thought counts to a certain degree. If you're not somebody that wants to control everybody on the planet, then your thoughts probably don't count as much, unless you're looking to heal and you connect to God and all of that. The fact is, Christians do not want cookie cutters themselves, because then that doesn't make them feel superior. Again, they have that superiority complex thing going on, that God complex. So that's the thoughts of their heart. So they're actually willing people away. The whole thing they're doing is actually shutting down their churches, but of course it would also trigger God to shut down their church. We're doing great, boy. I got money. Well, Herod had money. Pilate had money. Yeah, they're some rich people. Woo. Nice shade here with a little bit of cool breeze. again, you're reading the signs on how to make money, but you can't discern the times. And of course, I said you won't find an ark in the flood to save your life before all this happened. Woo, woo. It's allergy season too, so not terrible, but at some points during the day you'll just be like, ah, 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 ah. I mean, it just grab your throat and you're like, what? Where'd that come from? 8 a.m., 8 a.m. Worse than a tornado. What was that? So they got some allergens here that go poof at a certain point, and it'll lock up your throat, kind of like make it scratchy. And you're like, like if just inhaled some smoke or something. So again, these things they do for evil reasons. So I need to drop some weight, so this is great. So it's funny, I'm driving past Walmart. Now, you say, well, isn't that mental illness? You're driving past Walmart, you know you have to stop and get food. No, that's seeing. I couldn't stop and get food. If I did, it would have been whatever God foresaw was going to happen. So I had to go through whatever they were putting me through. And again, it almost made me run out of gas and all of that. So I was like, I need to shop there. So I get back to it and I see why, it had all the stuff that I was looking to purchase. And I had it in stock. Again, somebody told me next week we'll be resupplied. And then we'll have all that other stuff. So it looks like they're taking something I purchased out of the inventory, and there's no reason for them to do it because I buy it regularly. I mean, I pretty much buy it off the shelf, almost. And they still have the other products, but I'm not sure. I saw it clearance, and sometimes they clearance it because of the date. Sometimes they clearance it for other reasons, but they might be, taking it out of the inventory because they think they're funny. So like when you're investigating somebody and this stuff's going on, they'll tell you the person's bothered by something you're investigating. Just like they were trying to push me out of here when these other people left. I don't know what the whole goal was. Maybe they're pushing me out along with them. But to say that the investigators use it for some bullshit, like he left because that woman with the kid left. I mean, this is where they really are. They're sick. The professional, quote unquote, investigators. Ah, Giuliani? Ah! Well, they obviously are suppressing evidence in federal cases at a minimum. No, you all call it politics. It's Satan. I mean, you call politics all you like. It's Satan. We can't because we're conservatives in the church. They use projection, the Nazi propaganda technique. So transgender people, again, it's like, just, and I don't want to insult them, but the mindset that Christians have, it has to be said this way. I'm translating into neo-traditionalist Christian, the modern day Christians that say this is traditional and it's not. You don't, when there was a leper, when there was somebody that was lame, everybody else used to just cast dung on them, say it's their fault, and they're evil, and their parents were evil. And Jesus came and said, no, this is, for the glory of God that I heal this person. Did Jesus say that is the part of healing is to forgive sin? Yes. But what does the Bible say about that sin? It has to be that person's sin, and it's not. And I know it's not. So I'm not, again, it doesn't matter what Jesus said, but it matters what he said. Again, this fits with what he said, but he also said, greater work shall you do. And he said, he's leaving. Again, Satan props him up on that cross in front of everybody so nobody thinks that you can do something similar, or as Jesus had blessed it, something greater. Because they're with Satan. It's a scam. They have all the trappings of the world in their church. And what does that mean? Okay, it's nice. I love church buildings, but you see these mansions they built on earth. This is not the Father's kingdom. You weren't authorized to have a building fund, to be a partner with police officers that are cursing off your community. It's a trapping. It requires you to need. So when you need that, they can manipulate you. Do we need money to survive? Yes. If you wouldn't do what you were doing all, you think God would have the power to give us all money. Well, I got money more. Right. Satan's giving you money. They physically stop my money. There's no doubt in any normal circumstance, I would receive additional benefits from VA. But we don't know how many people they're doing that to. And they are trying to murder veterans that they don't like. Why don't we like them? Because you're devils and with Satan. Y'all make this easy. In fact, the only veterans they really like are deep state veterans. And that's both Democrat and Republican. But what is that also? Mark of the beast veterans. They will tell you taking the mark of the beast is being gay. That's what they'll tell you. Won't tell you it's their lust of money, their lust of power, the lust of imposing their will on others. And that they look perfect. Again, when people are out there being gay, the chance of them taking the mark of the beast is a lot slimmer than the others. Because they don't look like angels of light. They don't look like ministers of righteousness. Again, we go to Ezekiel 34, and that's our answer. with cruelty have you ruled them. And ruled them includes casting spells on them. You may be gay today, or you may be a trans, or you may drink alcohol, all the things the Bible says, including causing strife. Again, we all cause strife. We're all equal. And again, that's what the Bible is created to do, to cause us to realize that we're equal. We all, and to pull people out that don't believe that, so you can see them, and spirits can see them and hopefully heal them of that nonsense in their mind. But you're all on equal footing with them because it's an abomination. But yet, at a certain point, if you're the one casting the spell to cause strife, if you're casting a spell to cause people to be gay, if you're casting a spell to cause people to be all these other things, drinking alcohol, taking drugs, then you've took the mark of the beast off. So, because that's where the focus shifted. By the end of the work of the Christian church in the Bible, and of course the work of Jesus, he was speaking about how they were ruling them cruelly by putting all these burdens and cares on them. But again, they were putting spells on them also. Again, Jesus was inching into metaphysics, but only had so much. And may have had more. They may have figured, that was the important scripture to destroy. Again, at a certain point, it was more important to control Christianity because they couldn't get rid of it. And that probably was even back in the first century. And you have to understand this other part. And again, they're weird stuff. If I say they have to understand, it goes, well, we don't understand, so then we're not in trouble. And Satan will show them how not in trouble and give them a new Bronco or Mustang or Challenger or whatever the vehicle of the satanic community is today. Before Peter had his vision and met Cornelius, if you weren't Jewish, they weren't interested in you, because they believed that you couldn't be saved. They still ascribed to Jewish law at that level. In colonial America, while there were slaves, Catholics were also considered like they consider the gay people today. That's the strange part. If you go back, and Catholics are freeing at this point. If you go back to colonial America, George Washington writes this letter to a group of people, and you'd think he's writing it to black slaves or something, or maybe Native Americans, because they weren't on equal footing. He was writing it to Catholics. And again, you could write that today to gay people, and it would make sense. And yeah, they have some power, and they are moving along, but every time they get somewhere, you try to cast them back down. Could there be a system that causes people not to be gay, and it's not non-intrusive, and it just works, and trans, same? Yeah, of course. Again, anybody that's used hormones knows that each hormone does something different. Anybody that's used, including pro-hormones, which are not steroids, but are steroidal, but you can also use what's called, what are those other ones called? Plant sterols, which are hormonal in nature. Here's the thing: if I eat peanut butter, my testosterone goes up. So that's like a steroidal thing, believe it or not. It's a plant steroid. My body reacts to peanut butter like your body reacts to steroids. Again, there's nothing wrong with having your testosterone up, but if people are hounding you and psychologically operating you and crazy making you, and also, what's the other thing called crazy gaslighting, you'll kill that vehicle there. I want the gaslighting over there. Hey, lady, have a great day. I don't know, a little bottle. That thing that cursed from yesterday, it's like it's growing. It's just a little bottle now, one of those single service bottles. So I got to heal that. The spiking of the drinks, heal that. Well, as a Christian, I would tell you we shouldn't heal that because they deserve it, right? They're drinking. Because that's where they go with it. So again, if you have that mentality, then you can't heal anything. And of course, you can't heal it. God has to heal it, but God can't touch you when you're like that. That's what happens to God when he touches you. Again, there's people with power and people without power. So remember that. Again, Ezekiel 34 helps us begin that thought. So I was saying earlier, there's additional trains of tracks of thought, trains of thought, tracks of thought, including metaphysics and seeing and all of that. And a lot of people can't see it. Like I don't even see it now that much because God hasn't, and the prize God's going to let me see it and make me see it again, or whatever it is he does to make me see it. But when I woke up, one of the things God showed me, like when I would read something or watch the news, he would show me them jumping tracks of thought. It's very illogical. God's logical, believe it or not. They can't see it. Like some of you can see the church how they do that. They say this and then they go over here and then they go over there. And maybe I've done. I mean, I'm human here, and I'm going to be affected by your curses somewhat. It's just amazing I can speak, right? So that's what they're saying. It's amazing you can still speak. Shut up. The quote unquote professional investigators that suppressed federal evidence. All right, so that's what's happening a lot of times, and God's great, and seeing with God's help is amazing. We're all supposed to be there for this time period. There are things right, even if you're conservative. There are things right happening in the liberal community. It's just that somebody has taken control of it to make it go over a line. So people could possibly not be transgender. I could give if I'm giving you hormones to make you a woman, I could probably give you hormones to make you a man. But you can't just jack testosterone. It doesn't work that way. So again, don't let them tell you it's just testosterone. There's something else. Again, if you give somebody too much testosterone, it spills into estrogen. So that's probably one of the major mechanisms. You have to look at estrogen. Again, some of these kids look lean, so I don't know if it's an estrogen problem. But again, we see a lot of people, a lot like I don't like to speak ill of people, and I'm sure Jazz is a nice person, but she's getting heavy. That's from the estrogen. Or no, she's taking it. Yeah, she's taking estrogen. Right. Okay, testosterone. Okay, yeah. And again, so here's an example. You notice she takes estrogen and gets heavy, but you look at another transgender person, they take estrogen and they look like well, hey, it looks like a high school track star. So again, that's hormones. And how your body, processes hormones, creates hormones. So there is a makeup in each person. I think you're going to find that there's probably hormones where people can untransgender before they transgender. So if you're not part of trying to figure that out, if you're against transgenderism or you're against child transgenderism, then you're not trying to fix it. You're just trying to play a game with it, like the one-upmanship. And that's where the church is a lot of times. As far as being gay, I think it's the same thing. I think your psychology is bound to a certain degree by your hormonal makeup, and anybody that's taken at least pro hormones knows how that works. And again, anybody that freaks out while they're on steroids, it could be a different problem, because not everybody freaks out on steroids. They attack you. I did great on pro hormones. They were trying to get me to kill people, all sorts of shit. All I did was yell at one person and said, F you, after she made fun of my hearing. And I have hearing issues. I think they got in that finding. I believe my hearing is affected because they say my hearing isn't affected. It's just my tinnitus. And they gave me some money for my tinnitus. But years before I was in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, they told me they did an audiogram and said your hearing is screwed up. So again, it's BS. So before that, they didn't want to make it where they didn't give me anything. They just gave me a little bit and willed me away. In other words, my Desert Storm stuff wasn't there in 2013 or so when they gave me money. But they minimized it, so my Desert Storm stuff wouldn't kick in and then give me. And then they had a few more years to manipulate that. They tried putting one of their people in to quote unquote help me with it, but that person wasn't real. That was a setup. He was probably going to be a witness in a federal case if I actually tried to get him to help me. A trumped up federal case. So again, by default, sometimes you have to isolate yourself because they're constantly trying to trump up a case, and all you need is like 3 or 4 people to speak to, and then that's it. They'll just lie about what you say. But I think because I eventually went public with what they were doing, that probably saved me from the bullshit. But very beautiful clouds today. Big puffy clouds. So one thing they're doing is fearing people. They have to learn to overcome the fear and fight it. Again, I think it's the only book in the Bible series. I have to look at Judaism to see if it's there, where Satan comes at Moses, or maybe in the Bible. I just can't find it. But I think it's part of the Book of. It wouldn't be the Book of Mormon. Well, Moses fights Satan. He says that he's a son of God and fights Satan. And in that, I got to look to see if it's in the Bible. But I think it actually comes from the Mormon. But it's real, if you know what I mean. I mean, I don't know if it happened or not, but it's a very great instruction to fight that fear. But again, they fantasize that you're afraid when they're blocking your life because they can't understand because they're so evil, and many of them are criminal. Again, evil is not criminal. Criminal is not evil. But many people that are evil are criminal. But they're in power positions and nobody does anything. Or anti-power position, should I say at that point? If you're in a power position and you're evil, then it's an anti-power position. And they sell the power of the United States to Satan and replace it with Satan's power, as well in the other countries. So the way we're going, we heated up the earth by cleaning the air. So let's keep cleaning it. It should heat up a little bit more. I was glad to see that Mr. Inhofe had taken my narrative there and say, God controls the weather. Yes, he does. You can see it physical, but God controls it. Well, God could have everybody on the planet shift right, and then the planet would tilt that way, right? So again, that's how it really works through time and space. God will get you to do things to destroy the planet yourselves. You want to destroy people's lives, God will get you to destroy the planet while thinking you're getting rich destroying people's lives. Remember that thing I told you when I was in New York, healing New York, all the ethnic people and all the locations they told me to heal. Even one day, I was driving through New York, and I had Ozzy Osbourne on. But I was still healing and doing all the work I said I was doing. It was a motivating song. I don't know, maybe in War Pigs or something. Actually, God can make any song mean anything, and there's hidden stuff in every song. I don't remember what the song was, but a cop walks up to the back of my Bronco, or actually side of my Bronco. He came from around the back of my Bronco. He goes, "I heard the Ozzy Osbourne, that's why I can't talk to you." And what I didn't realize is I was healing where somebody had thrown a grenade. I believe it was CIA. The night before, somebody threw a grenade in New York, and NYPD was lining the streets, and I'm like, "Oh, what is this?" I was just healing and driving, and I spin around somewhere and drive back up the street. And it's generally, a lot of times, that's what I'll do when I'm healing a location. This cop walked up. I don't know if he was really interested in Ozzy Osbourne and trying to see who is this guy, or maybe he knew who I was. I don't know. I've been driving around New York, healing a few places. Oh, they made me out to be a terrorist and all this shit. I did nothing to do it. Stop torturing people and psychologically manipulating people to make something look like it isn't. I mean, their psychology is such bullshit. Somebody says, "Well, I use it honestly." It doesn't matter. It's bullshit at that point. Because it's subjective. Once it's subjective, then it's true. And that's how they build it, so they can lie about people. But what did I bring that up for? There was another story I didn't tell you. Yelling. You said story, that means it's fake. Okay, every time you say story, then it's fake. That'll be for everybody. We'll just screw the whole system up. That's an anecdote. It's the kind of shit they do. They sit there all day doing that, screwing up people's lives by lying. And then Satan pays them and makes them bigger and makes them famous, at least within law enforcement, intelligence, etc. Let's see what time it is here. We're over an hour. All right, that last 20 minutes were pretty. You probably can hear it by the voice pattern analysis. It was pretty tough on it. Oh, yeah, we see it now. Anyway, voice pattern analysis is not going to work that well on me because I've been tortured. And I see seeing is also because you don't know what I'm seeing while I'm speaking. I've seen scary things. I might see somebody in my eyes go because I see something scary. Oh my God, their head's missing. They messed it up. up. I mean, they messed it up on purpose because they, like, actually, some people could help me get somewhere if from a distance, the same way they're harming me, but because they know how to beat that up and make it not work, that I couldn't read it and figure it out. Because they just what they do is they double cross. They'll do the same system and then they'll double cross the person. So your system of communicating with people, shadow, they screwed it up. And they're your own people, so again, it's your own faults. And if you weren't so evil, you just think it and it would just happen the same way like we won Desert Storm. We just thought it and drove across the desert. Well, the key where they went wrong is they stayed too long. Again, the special forces thing should have happened sooner, because at a certain point, hearts and minds turn against you, and then you lose. And of course, I said that before Gant did it and said it, but he said it and did it also and helped them understand. And then they killed him. See, they're devils. Metaphysically killed him. There's something else I was on a certain thought. I'll have to listen to this at the end because there's something I was going to say that I missed. Boy, nice white puffy clouds. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God and all.